brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement Studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking host, the good old boys. And now it's sippin' time.
Oh, it's sipping time, isn't it? Definitely. Are we in horse country today? I do believe we are. Welcome to Sips, Suds, and Smokes.
God, I didn't know what that noise was. I was scared for a minute.
Welcome to the Sips episode where everything good in life is worth discussing. We are the best thing on at 2 a.m. This is a 1 hour show that's mildly entertaining for about 22 minutes.
On a good day.
We're banned in 3 countries, 1 entire territory in Canada, 3 small islands off the Baja coast, and my aunt still has not lifted the temporary restraining order. Our soft goal is to offend at least one person every episode, and today's target is probably people with a certain age. You know, I think that's probably what we're going for here today. Well, this is good old boy Mike. Joining me here at the table is Made Man Bob.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Good old boy Seth.
Hello, hello.
And good old gal Maggie.
Hello.
Thank you all for joining us. Bob is joining us from the Bourbon Mafia. Bob, why don't you take a minute and tell us a little bit about the Bourbon Mafia?
Well, the Bourbon Mafia is a group of high-end bourbon enthusiasts and industry professionals with membership in 7 states. They combine their love of our native spirit with a love for charitable work. It's a great group of people, and they raise money for worthy causes through rare bottle auctions and other charity events.
Seth is joining us from the Bourbon Review. Seth, why don't you take a little bit of time? Tell us a little bit about the Bourbon Review.
Guys, thank you for, again, hosting and having us on the show. We started the Bourbon Review in 2008 there, and it is it's a bourbon-centric magazine focusing on sort of a Southern lifestyle, the traditions of bourbon there. It's 2008, wow, what a ride it has been in the bourbon world.
Good old girl, Maggie, why don't you take a minute and tell us a little bit about what you do? I know you write for a lot of bourbon.
Write for a lot of publications. I'm Maggie Kimbrell. I'm a whiskey writer, and I write for The Whiskey Wash, The Alcohol Professor, Whiskey Magazine, formerly of Louisville.com. I have my own blog, LouGirl502.com, and I take care of bourbon historian Michael Veach at bourbonveach.com.
How about that? Thank you so much for joining us here on Sips, Suds, and Smokes. We're actually recording in Lexington at the Belle's Cocktail House. So, I mean, this is a really great place. I mean, there's a lot of history in this place, isn't there? So if you're hearing a little bit of background noise, we're actually recording in the bar. It is open right now, and we're going to have a lot of fun today. Our sip segments are all about wine, distilled spirits, tea, and coffee. Today's episode is an audience participation show featuring our new series. It's called Guess My Age. I can hear the dull applause coming off of Bob right now.
I got shoes older than some of the people in this room.
We have selected 4 bourbons that have already nearly the identical mash bill and are often on the market at different times. So this series, Guess My Age, is all about time. And so we'll get to discuss a lot of things about time today, what it does to a product, does it make it better, how much time really makes a difference, you know, when it comes to bourbons itself. You know, time, Bob.
Time. Yeah, time's money, man. You know, there are 2 lawyers sitting here, you know. What can I tell you, about that?
Who are we billing for this right now?
I'm billing about 4 different clients right now.
There we go.
They don't know about it, but in about 30 days, they're going to get a big envelope full of statements, and it's going to be kind of interesting. Our samples today are going to be tasted all blind, so we will review those products as the ages go along. You'll just want to skip through to the end, and I guessed them all correctly. So
I don't think so.
Oh, no. Once I'm done editing this, I guessed them all correctly. The panelists, we're going to prompt you for your thoughts as we are tasting as well, but mostly A or B, and why you liked one or the other, and what is the age of the bourbon in each sample.
Yep, pretty much.
For the sun shines bright on my old Kentucky home.
The origins of bourbon trace back to the concept of time and corn whiskey. So, at first, aging whiskey was very likely a happy accident. Farmers harvested their corn in late summer and made whiskey in autumn before they could ship it down the Ohio and the Mississippi to New Orleans. They had to wait for the spring rainy season and when the currents ran faster. Besides that, once their barrels were loaded for shipping, the trip downstream could take several weeks and sometimes even months. So all this waiting meant wonderful things were happening inside those barrels. By the time the whiskey reached its destination, aging had turned it into an amber color, evened out the flavor, and so was smoother, richer, and a whole lot more pleasing to the palate than unaged whiskey.
A little over 200 years ago, when farmers began making whiskey out of native corn, they were unaware that their labors would ultimately play a role in American history. Regrettably, many of the particulars of their stories have been lost to time, since those who live history don't always take the time to write it down.
Wait a second. Let me write that down.
You can't. You're from Alabama.
I'm not from Alabama. Felt like history.
What has been preserved, however, is a colorful and important part of our nation's story that tells how corn liquor evolved to become bourbon and why it deserves to be called the true American spirit. The heart of bourbon has always been Kentucky, where over 200 years ago, immigrant farmers chose this land to become the birthplace of America's only native whiskey. A lot of things we take for granted today were pretty big obstacles to folks like Evan Williams. Getting to Kentucky was hard enough, but transporting goods was even harder. The distiller who wanted a bigger market for his product had to ship his goods. And whether he was in Louisville, Nelson County, or Old Bourbon County, the only way out of Kentucky in the early days was by flatboat down the Ohio to the Mississippi.
Enter Elijah Craig and the famous accident of charring barrels. How he came up with that idea, we can't say for sure. By one story, the whole thing was an accident. Some barrels were charred in a barn fire, and frugal Reverend Craig couldn't bear to toss them out. Another version claims that his frugality led him to reuse old barrels, so he charred the insides to kill any flavors in the barrel's original contents. A few folks say he was a genius, and intuition led him to suppose that charring might enhance the flavor. No matter how he happened upon the idea, charring the inside of the oak whiskey barrels was a discovery that set a milestone for creating what would become bourbon, and earned Elijah Craig the title, the Father of Bourbon.
So this concept of time with bourbon was mostly a byproduct of transportation, and the charring flavor was just some agricultural accident. I'm still trying to figure out what to call allowing people to accidentally breed in Alabama. What should that be called?
I think most people would call it a lawsuit waiting to happen, and, if I was you, I'd watch out.
Well, I know that there's a lot of things that certainly we could talk about, for bourbon history. Well, Seth gets the honors of going over our SIPS ratings for today. So, Seth, we have a tradition of kicking up the process of introducing our rating with some unique flair. So we decided to let you keep your clothes on for this, since it actually is a radio show.
Hey, Mike is wearing pants for this. This is a big event.
We are all fully clothed.
All right, guys. So we'll be tasting and discussing these bourbons and rating them with these SIPS rating plus our signature sounds. Here are the ratings now. Give me a glass of water to wash out my mouth.
That sounds like a good riverboat captain.
Yeah, that's a riverboat captain.
Bring water! Bring water!
Nice, but what else do you have?
Well, isn't that nice?
Interesting. What was this again?
Interesting.
Let's keep this secret to ourselves. Pour me another.
Number 4.
Oh my, I was unaware anything could be this good.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah!
The sound that most married men have never heard.
Oh.
So today is actually an audience participation show today. So we've actually enlisted some folks to taste and rate this along with one of our signature questions. So we'll have a prize for one of our audience members that comes the closest to guessing the age of our panelists. Plus, we're actually going to toss in, some other people into the discussion as we go along as well. Now, listen, I'm not going to tell you who in advance, but I will tell you that anything that is over 75 is going to get you banned. So I'm not going to tell you the whole thing. So listen, our hosts here at the table, we're going to be alternating tastings back and forth, and we're paired off in teams. So it's going to be Bob and Maggie, and Seth and I are actually going to taste these samples. So we have 5 samples that we're going to go through, and they're basically an A or B. And we're going to be both rating and tasting these and guessing which one is the oldest one so far. We're going to start right off with sample number 1. But before we head out to break here, just in a little bit, I thought I'd ask my panelists, so how difficult was the blind tasting?
Difficult? I mean, if this is the worst I have to do all day, that's a pretty good day, right?
Right.
This beats work, yeah.
It was, this is
and I had to tell you which
so
one's the oldest.
hard.
Sitting behind a desk, staring at a big screen, typing all day. Yeah, no, this is awesome.
Hey, we'll be right back after this break.
Rolling clouds and crashing surf, iridescent dunes reflecting by the light of a rising, glowing moon. Seashore mesmerizing, night breeze hypnotizing. We've come across these back roads none too soon. Look to the left, to the right. Keep your eyes on the road, my darling. Wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows. My hand is yours forever, sweet.
Hey, welcome back to Sips, Suds, and Smokes, this good old blind Mike. Today on our Sips episode, we are discussing bourbons that is a game of Guess My Age. We're tasting 5 different products, all in a blind tasting. All of these products are come from pretty much the same mash bill, but they're different ages. So we're going to start off with sample number 1, and Bob and Maggie are going to go through this. I'm going to kind of ping-pong back and forth to kind of lead us through the discussion. So I'm going to start with you, Bob. So between the 2 products, which one did you like the most?
I think sample B was the one that it spoke a little bit more to me. It had a little bit bigger of a nose. Had a great mouthfeel to it. Oak was big. There were hints of tobacco. Used old leather, had a much longer finish than A. A had a great finish as well, but this one was longer.
So what's your rating 1 to 5 on B?
Give it a 4.
4. So, Maggie, what was your favorite and why?
So that's interesting. I also gave B a 4, but I gave 1A a 5. That was definitely my favorite.
Wow, how about that?
It was very good.
So 1A was your favorite. Is that right?
It was. And you know, the reason why, it had a really nice nose. I got a lot of leather and stone fruit on the nose. But then on the taste, it was brown sugar, leather, and dark cherry. So that was really a good one for me.
So fancy descriptors.
So which one do you think is older, A or B, Maggie?
I think A is older.
A is older. Bob, do you think A or B is older?
I think A is older.
You think A is older. So this is Michter's. Sample A is Michter's 10, and sample B is Michter's 20.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
We came out strong. We going top shelf.
Yep. So very interesting. So you actually picked the younger product, I think, both of you, right? You both like the younger
I
products.
mean, I can make the argument that age is not everything in a bourbon. So,
Huh.
Well, the age doesn't. Here's the thing: the B was a much bigger bourbon, but that doesn't necessarily always mean that it's older. I mean, some things are, the brick to the teeth that are younger. And the age will taper it out. So that's why I thought A was maybe the older one, because it just had a little bit more finesse to it. But the one that I preferred was the one I actually liked was the B. So.
Wow.
Interesting, because I got a lot more barrel tannin on the second sample.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can see the color, too. If you hold them next to each other there, the B is much darker. You're right.
But that's the thing, too, even with color. That's not necessarily an indicator.
Indicator of age.
My samples look different than yours.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm holding yours. Your A looks like straw, and my A definitely looks like amber.
Well, so let's swing around to actually the audience participation sample, which is actually going to be number 4 that we're going to work with. So Seth and I are going to talk about this, and then we'll have a few people come up from the audience, and then Bob and Maggie will chime in. So number 4, Seth. So between the two samples, which one did you like the most?
I had A down there.
A, okay.
I had for both, though. They both, to me, tasted a little younger. There was some decent, a little bit of creamy in there, to massage it out. But actually, for both of them, I got just a little bit of hot on both for being up front.
So you like A. Any guess about the age of what A is?
I'm going to retry it.
I hate this job.
Please drink and taste.
I wouldn't say it was any past beyond 6 years. I mean, I would go 4 to 6 there, but I could be wrong.
Huh. All right, 4 to 6 years. So my own sample notes about number 4 is I wrote down between the two is number A was hotter. I rated it a 3. And sample B, I thought was more smooth. It was sweeter. It had kind of a bit of a smoky quality to it. I kind of liked sample B out of this. I gave it a 4.
That's classified.
And I picked the older one as sample B. So, and we're not going to reveal what's what just yet. So we're going to have our first audience participation members to come on up here. And stepping on up to the microphone is going to be our first audience participation member. Why don't you step up to the mic, introduce yourself there.
Hello, everyone. My name is good old boy Rob, and I am from Lexington, Kentucky.
Wow, how about that? Local guy. Thanks for joining us, Rob. So tell us a little bit about what you thought about each of the samples.
Sample A, it kind of had a casty type taste. It was a little, not super complex, but it had a nice nose. It was smooth going down. It had a little bit of kick, but I really liked a little bit of heat. And if I had to give it a rating between that very sexy 1 through 5, I really enjoyed it. I thought I'd give it a 5.
A 5, okay. Oh my goodness. All right. And so between the two samples, which did you think was the oldest?
Between the two, and sample B, it has some good flavor, some good kick, and things like that. Nice high proof, I think, is what I smelled in there, and I like the consistent, like I could tell the mash was the same thing. I think sample A was a little bit older. Maybe sample A was 10 or 12 years old, maybe.
Okay, so you're with Seth, right? You said A.
I think A.
A, and Rob, you said A, and I said B.
Yep.
All right. Mm-hmm. So, what do you think the age is of the one that you picked and said was older?
I'm sure I'm completely off here when I say this, but sample A reminded me of a 10 or 12-year-old bourbon, and then for B, maybe a couple of years younger.
So 4 to 6, he's saying older.
Yeah, I'm saying a little older than 4 to 6.
Okay. All right. So interesting choice. Well, so I'm going to let you pass the headphones off to the next person here.
Okay.
And then we'll go through the big reveal. Very interesting. Did you think that it was really that old, Seth?
I didn't.
You didn't think so?
I didn't get... again, I feel like I should second-guess myself.
He's going to sample again. I love it.
You should drink more.
Well, we've had another member from
I'm
our
a
audience
doctor.
step up and join us. So introduce yourself.
My name is Bob.
Hello, Bob. Two Bobs.
I'm different.
Rob and
I
Bob,
spell
that's
mine backwards.
That's right.
So do two Bobs make a wrong?
Absolutely not.
Any of you from Alabama?
When we get bourbon,
Negative.
yeah, you give me bourbon, yeah, they all make a wrong.
So, Bob, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you thought about the two samples and their rating, and which one you thought was older?
I preferred A over B. This is all guesswork, I can tell you that. My wife will follow later, and hers is a much more refined palate than mine. I guessed that A was around 8 years old, and that B was around 4 years old.
Okay. Very interesting.
I found A to be smoother and a little more vanilla and just a nice sipping whiskey.
You notice how he prefaces that? He says, my wife has very good taste. My wife is the one who has
way
good
better
She
taste.
at this
absolutely
than I am.
does, so-
I love
Well,
this
yeah,
guy.
I don't know.
That's what
it's
Seth will
okay.
tell you that's correct. So.
That is
Trying to
correct.
stage that.
Kelly
He's
knows.
working the rest of the night.
So I'm sorry. Which one did you pick was older?
I picked A as older.
Pick A is older. Okay. So you're with the Camp Seth, not with.
I'm with Camp Seth.
Not with Camp Mike.
Typically, always. So,
Okay.
Unveil the curtain. We must know.
Unveil the curtain. So sample A is going to be, both of these are Medley Brothers. So this is Medley Brothers 10 private stock is number A. So that's a 10-year product. And number B is the Medley Brothers Heritage number 4, sample A. So I picked A in that. Really?
yeah. So the age of B is
What's the age on B, though?
The age on B is 10, and the other Heritage is 4 year. Yeah.
Okay. So B is 10
So
and
6 years. 6 years apart.
like I said. It
He was
guesswork.
younger.
Exactly the same mash bill. They use the same mash bill in all the Medley Brothers products, and so they're just pulled out of barrels at different points in time.
It's,
So-
you could tell on the A. It was grassy.
Absolutely. Team Seth.
So while you guys are thinking about that, let's invite our last audience participation member up. We have to adjust the microphone here for our last person here. Give us just a second.
Yes.
Now,
Wow.
we hear that you have a considerably better palate than your other half.
Well, he tends
He
to
hyped you up a
exaggerate,
lot.
but
He
yeah.
hyped you up a lot. No
Yeah.
pressure.
No pressure.
He's trying to imply that you have good taste because you picked him. So.
Yeah, well,
No.
yeah. Look at him.
You're saying that's a bunch of crap. I'm sorry.
So his dad had a shotgun. Okay. Welcome to Alabama.
So why don't you introduce yourself for our audience?
My name is Kelly, and I'm from Bowling Green.
Oh, well. Hey, Kelly. Another
to meet you all.
Fairly local person, so thank you for joining us here on Sip, Suds, and Smoke. So between the two samples, tell us a little bit about what you liked about each and which one was older.
Well, I thought that B was older, and that sample A was about 8 years old, and then I thought that sample B was about 10 years old.
Okay.
I also thought B was
B was
older.
very. I thought A was very strong in the front, and it tasted a little sharp to me on the front side of it.
Huh.
And I got some corniness.
Yes,
in
very
the
much
first
so,
one.
yes.
Yes.
So-
I agree with that.
So you're with me. You picked A, right?
Yes, as being younger.
As being younger.
Younger.
I also picked B as being older.
Okay.
B is older. A is younger. Yes.
Oh, all right. How about that? So after hearing the reveal that A is the older product, it's a Medley Brothers 10.
A is older.
A is older. It's Medley Brothers 10-year private stock, and number B is Medley Brothers Heritage 4-year
Really?
product. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Totally surprising.
Yeah.
Because A had that grassy note to it.
It had a really strong front to it. I thought that it had a little bite to it.
So what have we all learned about time so far?
That it depends.
It's time to get to the next product.
I will say I'm happy
Next
on my
up.
tongue's ability to pick out the younger one. That did feel
Impressed, though.
good.
Time is
I
an
mean,
evil
and you
mistress.
can feel it though. But again, that
We're all going back to our
it'll
sample
be fun to
cups going,
see
"Wait a
how the
second.
next ones go.
Oh, how'd that go again? Wait a minute.
Let me have another one.
We have another one of those.
That
I
does
need
help.
to test a little more.
Well, I had a chance of sitting in on a distiller's dinner with Sam Medley recently at Kane in Nashville, Tennessee, and It was really a great chance to get to meet a distiller up front, kind of get to know the Medley products just a little bit better. Very interesting, heritage it goes with Medley. This is a brand that has come in and out of the family. They had it, they sold it, they bought it back, they have it, so it's gone through a couple of cycles like that. But the thing is that the whiskey has never changed, even through all these changes in ownership. And I really love a lot of the stewardship that they've had with the brand itself through all of these changes, in the actual ownership of the whiskey itself. So I'm glad we got to taste it today. It was really great. A lot of people don't know the Medley products, that much. Have you had them before, Maggie?
I have, yes. And they are they based in California now? Do I remember that?
Well, so what they do is they actually distill the product in Kentucky at a contract distillery. I don't know where. They won't tell you.
Okay.
And then they take the raw distillate and they ship it across country. I'm sorry. They age it here in Kentucky. And after it's aged, they take the fully aged product, they ship it to California, and they bottle it in California. Right. Yeah.
Now, when they originally started back up, they were bottling in Kentucky as well, right?
I don't know when they took the brand back over, if they were bottling here and then they moved it to California. I'm sure that might have been very probable. I
vaguely remember that from my liquor store days.
I'm sure, yeah. So that may very well be the case. And I expect, a lot of interesting changes with Medley Brothers over time. So
very
interesting.
Exciting.
Yeah,
Very
very cool, interesting, discussion about the Medley products for today.
Well, Mike, there's never a bad bourbon, so it really doesn't matter.
I agree.
I like this lady.
Are you happy with your choice in
I am. Whatever it is, I'm happy today.
There's no bad bourbon. Some are just better than others. That's all.
Yeah.
It beats working.
That's right.
I think she's simply trying to
seek the Holy Grail.
That's exactly what's trying to go on. She's really trying to seek the Holy Grail. That's what's going on. Oh, I forgot to do the twist along the way. So we'll do this in reverse. All right, so we can do this even after the fact. So, Kelly.
Yes.
I want you to pick any panelist here, and I want to see if you can pick their age.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and I'll give you a clue. First, pick the panelist you want.
Okay.
We can saw you in half and count the rings.
Please no.
Let's see. I'll go with...
You're going to go with Maggie.
Okay.
Here's your clue for guessing Maggie's age.
Okay.
Made me what I am.
These are songs that were popular.
Lionel Richie song. Is that Lionel Richie?
It is. But all these songs were very popular the year that Maggie was born.
Born in 92.
Oh,
I love you. I love you so
bad.
much.
No, 82.
That is just so bad.
82.
That's just so bad. I liked you so much, Kelly.
Oh, Mike, come on. Don't give up on me.
1981.
1981, yeah. Okay.
Yep, how about that? All right.
Sunscreen's working for me, guys.
It is.
Right.
Don't stop using it.
Right.
Yeah.
Pass your headphones off to somebody else, and we'll continue Guess My Age here. So, next up for Rob with the twist question is, I want you to pick one of the panelists, either Bob or myself, and I want to see if you can guess the age of Bob or myself.
Oh, okay. I have to do one of you two.
That's correct.
I carry a gun.
I cheated in getting on Seth's Facebook.
Oh, well, he's not
look at
here,
him.
so there you go.
Terrible.
I would never reveal my age.
I do carry a gun.
So,
I'm just pointing that out. It's not a threat. I'm just saying there might be one under the table and it might be pointed at.
I'm going to have to hit the deck here soon, guys.
That's actually older than
I
some
think
of this
Bob's
bourbon.
younger than I am.
Yeah, you got some chance.
And
So you want to go with Bob?
I'm going to go with Bob.
You're going to go with Bob. And what year do you think
both
Bob is?
Bobs. I think he's younger than I am.
Here's your clue for Bob.
That's Paul McCartney.
Strangers in the night.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, that's a curveball.
Glances.
Sinatra would be the year he was born, or?
Yes. He was born the year
Come on,
this
you got a
song-
better song than this.
This was
Come
a
on.
top 30 song, yeah.
And Paul was when he was of age to carry a gun. So
As I walk this land,
say he is 48.
Hey, so that is not correct.
All right.
He was born in 66. 1966.
If you'd have just hung, the monkeys were coming. The monkeys were the last one.
Coming, yeah.
What's the age?
50. 50. Yeah, it's 50.
That was a
yeah.
compliment, Bob.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Not bad.
Good
Not
guess.
bad at all.
Could you put your wife back
He
on?
had Mozart before the son of a gun. But, you know.
You're the monkeys.
All right, Rob. Seth is. Can you guess his age? I'm going to give you a tip for Seth here.
After all, I'm forever
Play Beethoven. Don't really mess with him.
when I was younger man. I hadn't a
Oh, I'll even make it more interesting. I'll let you guess either Seth's age or mine.
Oh, okay. So
You're poison.
I'll even give you my clue too, and I'll give you a 50-50 chance.
He's going to play King Tut next. Yeah.
I love these songs. You are not helping at all, actually.
Yeah, come on, play.
So let me just say, as a black man trying to guess white people ages, that is a challenge. That is a challenge. I'm going to be honest with you. I love Seth. He's my brother. Mike is a cool guy, too. So I'm going to say Seth is 33, 34. Okay.
Close.
Okay. And Mike?
Also, Seth was born in 1981.
Oh, okay. Yes, there you go. All right.
I just learned today I'm older.
Mike, you're only a little bit older than me, so I want to give you 45.
45. Bob and I are exactly the same age. I was
Here,
born in
try these
66.
glasses. Yeah. Oh, God.
No, wait, you have to guess how old I am.
There are redwoods that are younger than him.
We don't age, so how old am I?
Oh, Lord.
I'm going to guess 28.
28.
31.
Hey, we'll get
35.
this right after back. We come from this break.
Baby, the whole elation riding down this lover's avenue. As slow as a willow blows, or as fast as the whirlwind grows, we glide beneath the stars in cobalt blue. Look to the left, to the right. Keep your eyes on the road, my darling, wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows, my hand is yours forever, sweet love. Our eyes ahead on these back roads with a view.
Hey, welcome back to Sips, Suds, and Smokes. This is good old boy Mike. On today's Sips episode, we are discussing a new series called Guess My Age. We've had a good time so far, and I'm glad that all of you are a lot younger than you thought you were.
Hooray.
I couldn't be any older than I think I am. I'd be dead.
Do you think it's the fact that we plied those people with enough bourbon why they guessed so poorly?
You know, whatever it is, we need to keep doing that.
I agree.
I mean, she guessed me at 25, and I don't even lie to my kids about that being that young. So,
Well, there you go. So we're going to cover another couple examples here. So Bob and Maggie are going to go through sample number 2. What'd you guys think of this sample? And which one did you like? And how old were they?
all right. So with 2A, do you want to go A first, and then B? Okay, let's do it. So 2A,
Hug that microphone for me, Maggie. There you go.
there was a nice butterscotch nose. And then on the taste, I got some maple syrup, some wood tannin at the end. This was a high-proof bourbon, and I guess this to be around 10 years.
Ooh, 10 years. And so that was number A or B?
That was A. That was 2A.
2A is 10 years. Interesting choice.
What did you find about 2A, Bob?
In the front, it was light and sweet. On the back end is when in the very front of the palate you got the sweetness. In the back end of the palate is when the spice really kicked in, especially in the back and the side palate. Oak, clean, nice oak.
Right.
Like dark honey, almost a brown sugary. Had a good long finish on it. I think it was the older of the two samples.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Interesting. So what's your rating for sample A?
I'll give it a 4.
4. And how about you, Maggie?
You know, I'm switching back and forth. One's 5, one's 4, and I can't decide.
Call it 4, just
Call
to
it 4.
split it here for you. So sample B.
Okay, sample B. There was a nice caramel nose. The taste was hot barrel butterscotch syrup. It was definitely a high proof. And I guess this one to be at 12 years. And I even have a guess for the brand, but I'm going to wait for Bob.
This one had a great mouthfeel. Was a little bit hotter. Oak and spice, a little bit of black pepper. Good solid whiskey. I gave it a 4.
How about that?
Classified.
Do you want to hear my guess before you read it
Sure,
off?
you
Okay.
go for it, Maggie.
So I think 2B was actually the older one. I guess that at 12 years. And I guess that was a George T. Stagg.
So sample number 2B is the one you think is older, and you think that's Stagg?
Yeah.
So that is both of these are Willett Family Estate.
Really?
Yes. So sample B, which you guessed, was actually Willett Family Estate, 22 year. There's certain barrel designations for these products, and this one is C10D. And the other product is actually Willett Family Estate, 11 year, and
So I got it right that 2B was older than 2A.
2B is older. That is correct. Yep. So Willett Family Estate 11, and the barrel designation was 1604 off of that. So yeah.
I'm
So
consistent. I always pick the younger Willets as opposed to the older ones. So
It's interesting.
I know my palate. I know what I like.
So what do you think about time with those products?
I mean, you know, time is one of those things that's really tricky because there are a lot of characteristics that go into it. What do you think, Bob?
It's not that time necessarily doesn't make it better.
Not always. Yeah, I agree with that.
It's like, you know, some people look at color in a whiskey and say this one's darker versus lighter. It doesn't necessarily mean it's better. It just means it's darker.
Right. What
matters is the palate. What matters is the flavor that you get from it. And it's, you know, you're also shooting for a moving target. Like I said to Mike, when it comes to Willett's, you know, everybody clamors for a Pappy 23. That's not my favorite of the series by any stretch of the imagination. I find it too old for my palate. I like things that are more in the 10 to 12 to 14 range. It just that's what hits for me. So I missed which one's the older one because I'm not really thinking older. I'm thinking which one do I like better.
Exactly. Yeah, and everybody's palate is different.
That one hit for me. And again, age. There's nothing wrong with age if it's done correctly.
Right.
But it doesn't always mean that higher number. It's not a test score. The higher number doesn't get you into a better college. This isn't the SATs. So.
Well, and there's the whole thing about opinions being like.
Yeah,
everybody has.
Yep. Yeah, so one of my most interesting blind tastings was I was actually in a room. We were tasting a bunch of Willett's, and the person that was opening the bottles just opened a bottle of Rare Perfection in the middle of the whole thing. And all of a sudden I was like, wow, this is dramatically different. I mean, there's like lots of oak, and the age on the Willett we were having and the Rare Perfection were within a couple of years of each other. And I really just thought it was very interesting, stark contrast, between the two, that age is not always, does the same thing, to everything, here that we've had here as well. So we're going to move right on along to sample number 3, and Seth and I are going to cover that one, right?
We're on it.
Yeah. So what do you think about sample number 3?
It was, out of all the samples there, was... two of the ones that I starred, which I feel happy about my palate. I had initially starred the 1A and 1B, which ended up being one of my favorites, Michter's 10 and Michter's 20, and I starred this one, just to jump into it there. I liked them both. I liked A. I'll go ahead and jump into my age predicament. I think B is older.
B is older.
I think B is older, and I'm going to go ahead and... I even have a brand. I have a specific label. I think it is. But
okay.
You want me to say now or wait?
No, you can wait. I'll go through mine here. What's your general rating for A and B? know.
I did not get crazy into the rating system, but it would be 1 and 5. I mean, 5 being the absolute pinnacle. For me, B, I had it better. I had it started, so I thought it was superior to A. I mean, I would guess maybe 4-ish, and then maybe A was probably 3-ish.
For that. So my own tasting notes here on number 3, which is sample A. I wrote down super sweet, and I had it at a 3.
Interesting.
My tasting notes are not that, verbose today. Sample B, I wrote down it was kind of very floral. I thought that these were very similar to each other. And I had a lot of difficulty, distinguishing. Number 3 was a lot more floral, and I thought it was exactly the same rating. And number 3, between A and B, I picked number A as being the older product. Between the two, this was probably, of all the samples we have today, I will tell you that this was probably the most difficult. Between the two, I'm thinking that the sample A being older, I was thinking that it was somewhere in the neighborhood of around 17 years. I thought that sample B was more around the 10-ish, kind of range.
Tasting them both back to back, what I had a hard time ciphering which was older. Something to me, if it has that heat to it, almost that bitter pucker, I always that's when we were going back and forth in the first sample there. I thought that's what based my judgment on this one. I think it was difficult because I think B was more pleasantly well-rounded. I feel like A, though, it could potentially just be a lower proof. Proof can factor in there as well. If it's a hotter proof, well, it's going to be hotter on the palate. It's not necessarily mean it's younger, obviously, but
I don't think these products are exactly the same proof. Yeah, I think that was one thing that may contribute.
Yeah, that's a big variable.
So that's what I had a hard time ciphering. But if before you unveil, I want to take a stab.
Okay, go for it.
I think for me, I was going to guess and say they were Sazerac Rye, but
Sazerac Rye.
You're not missing that.
Yep, definitely.
Got that rye putty nose. You're not going to miss that one.
Yeah, either reads the answer key really good or he has a fantastic palate. I'm going to go for the second one. So, really, very distinctive, product, and so I really thought that was very interesting. That the 6-year product, I really picked that as being older, and I think part of it was that sweetness level that was coming off of it, that floral quality that was coming off the 17-year product. That there was a lot of heat still on the 17, very present there. And so I think that's the reason why it kind of threw me off, was possibly a change in proof. But I think mostly I really thought that floral component was something that you would normally have in a younger product. So I think that's kind of what threw me off. So, yeah, stump the chump, that's for sure. So, would you go back and try the 6-year rye a bit more now that you tasted it blind and think of it differently?
Definitely. I mean, I like ryes in general, to be honest. And immediately I was like, oh, this is nice. This is friendly here.
Cocktail rye.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we're going to have time to go through a little bit of our last product here in the tasting, which is number 5.
All right, I'm on it.
So we'll just do a quick round table, all 4 of us, and we'll start right here with Maggie and go around clockwise. And so number 5, which one did you like, and which one did you think was older?
I'm still in the process of tasting. Okay, 5B definitely older.
5B definitely older. How about you, Bob?
5B.
5B is definitely the older one. How about you, Seth?
I starred 5B. It really jumped out to me. I got low heat on it, rich butterscotch finish there. 5B was one of my top 3 there.
Got a little leatheriness on the finish.
And I'm the odd man out. But on 5, I wrote down on A, I wrote wood, and more wood. And sample B I thought was rather hot. So I picked sample A as being the older product. This is Stagg Jr.
It was good, yeah.
Is sample A, and GTS, George T. Stagg, is sample B.
Wow, So junior versus senior.
Junior
there.
versus senior, straight up.
One you're not getting past me. That's my mother's milk.
I tell you,
That's
to
my
me,
death row bourbon.
It's such a joy to do these blind tastings, to really take the bias out of the label,
Challenge, yeah.
Just to learn that 5B you're drinking Stagg. It's what 100 what are you talking 140, 137 proof.
8 to 140, yeah, that's.
I would not have guessed that in a million years. I thought it's beyond 100, but it's so creamy and
Right.
like it's done so well there. It's wow. This has been you guys.
Out
guys
of these
came-
5, if I put the 5 in front of you and I said which one is the Stagg and Stagg Junior, would you be able to pick that out like that?
I don't think so, but I did star. To me, 5B jumped out at me, and I started. I had a couple stars. I had 3B, I had 5B, and then I had 1A and 1B there. So
5 was hard to miss.
I think it was
that
really
brick.
interesting
Yeah.
that I thought the Willett was the Stagg. But I had not tried the Stagg yet at that point. I just tried the Stagg.
So I'll tell you a little bit about some of
I'm
the
feeling buzzed right now.
the show's just about to get good, folks. Don't go away. So I actually was working on preparing the samples and for the show, and I was tasting as I was going along. And I will tell you,
it's so horrible for you. I feel so bad.
So I will tell you that this was, I thought, the closest between was the Stagg Junior and the George C. Stagg. I actually went back and probably tasted them at least 4 times. It was just, I don't know if it was because
did we pour these in the wrong glasses?
No. I really was having difficulty distinguishing between the two. They were just so close to each other.
They're both huge.
Yeah.
Huge whiskey.
Very flavorful.
So you're looking at a huge, big, giant thing, and you've got to try and get a whole picture of it. So it's hard to narrow that down and actually start picking out the details. And for something like Stagg, even the Stagg Junior, the flavor profile and the brick to the teeth, you can't go by proof alone because both of them are high proof. You can't go by color because both of them are very dark.
Right.
And when it's something that's the size of the Hindenburg, it's hard to pick out the little nuances, and you really, really have to work for it.
Oh, humanity.
I mean, this is one that's easier for me to pick out because, again, this is my favorite of all the bourbons that I have in my closet. I'd bathe in it if I could buy it in enough quantity. But it's, this one, you're right. This one was one of the hardest ones for me to pick.
So we have about 4 more minutes here. I'm curious what you guys think about the experience overall. This is a time, to think about what did you think time did to some of these products. Seth, why don't you start?
This was terrific. It just sort of reminds you of why you need to do blind tastings. And I love the way that you set each one up to have, from the same distillery company there under the same umbrella, but to be able to try to, it's fun. You put your taste buds to the test there, you learn a lot, and for me, I didn't know you guys were going to bring such fantastic bourbons to try. So this has been a real treat.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh!
It allows you, when you do things blind, it allows you to not be influenced by the label.
Absolutely.
And that's the important thing. There are companies out there that like the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society, they bottle stuff under a code. They do not put the name of the distillery on their bottles for a reason. Yeah. Because they don't want you to be prejudiced. I only like this or I only like that. Take it on its merits and enjoy it for what it is. And that's what it is.
And that's a really great point. But I think really the takeaway is that age is not everything. There are a lot of other factors that go into it.
Say that again, please.
Age is not everything.
I love her.
It's something, but it's not everything.
It's experience, but that's
there you go.
It's like Lionel Richie. That's what it was.
Well, who doesn't like Lionel Richie?
I'm once, twice, 3 times a lady. What can I say?
Vladimir Putin even likes Lionel Richie. Come on. Everybody likes Lionel Richie.
Oh, really great discussion. Bob, any quick thoughts here?
Good tasting, eye-opening, really learn a lot.
Well, really great exercise. I hope you enjoyed our series on Guess My Age for the Bourbon series today. interesting exercise. I'm sure you have your own products at home. Sit down, maybe think about doing this on your own. I think it would be a lot of fun.
Fun times.
For you and your friends. I agree. This would be a good. This would be a good dinner.
It'd be awesome
with friends.
Absolutely.
I really hope you enjoyed this episode for today. You can catch all of our episodes. Catch all of our episodes online as well on SoundCloud, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, YouTube, PRX, and Spreaker, our native media host. iTunes and our own Android app are the easiest ways to enjoy the show on your phone. Just search for Sips, Suds, and Smokes on iTunes or in the Google Play Store. We love your feedback, and you can catch us online at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com. Our daily tasting notes flow out on Twitter every single day. Our handle is... not from Alabama. I'm sorry. Our handle is @SipSudSmoke, and our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news.
Our thanks to the Bourbon Heritage Center for some of the background material for today, and also thanks to Medley Brothers and the Bourbon Review for providing some of the samples for today's show.
Yes, thank you very much.
And, of course, thanks to the great folks at Belle's Cocktail House.
Yes, thank you, Belle's Cocktail House.
Allowing us to come and record here.
Appreciate that.
We loved having you guys. This has been a treat.
Well, I want to thank my co-host for being here, good old boy Bob. I'm sorry,
Always a pleasure to be here. Always a pleasure to be here.
Good old boy Seth.
I feel honored to be a good old boy now with you good old boys.
There you go. Good old gal Maggie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so very much. Well, I hope you'll join us once again on Sip, Suds, and Smokes. This is good old boy Mike asking you to keep on sipping.
You're here.
This has been a One Tan Hand production of Sip, Suds, and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see y'all next time.